On the surface, you would think hearing the story that Alyssa Mercante has departed Kotaku is all good and there are no problems whatsoever. This is a joyous occasion we should be celebrating, to which the community certainly is doing plenty of that on Twitter. But if you take a bigger step back and look at the entire picture, it's actually pretty scary what could happen next. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And yeah, the headline is Alyssa Mercante is no longer working at Kotaku. But let's not bury the lead here, where she's actually potentially going to become a full-on employee at Sweet Baby Inc. or one of the game companies like Compulsion Games that works directly with them. Because you have to remember, with all these people behind the scenes, it's one big club and you're not in it. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full and comprehensive article for everything that I could find regarding Alyssa Mercante stepping down from her position at senior editor at Kotaku without much of a plan or anything actually tangible to say of what's happening next, just to say basically, trust me bro, I'm good. In a post on Twitter, she stated, "Work news. After exactly 2 years, I've decided to leave Kotaku and my role as senior editor. I'm eternally grateful for Kotaku's editorial team and all that they taught me during my time there. They are some of the best in the business, and I will forever be proud to have shared the masthead with them. They continually fight to maintain the editorial pillars that make Kotaku great and to hold onto their journalistic integrity in the face of increasing pressure to compromise that." And that line in itself made me bust out laughing when I first saw it. Absolutely hysterical to say that Kotaku has any kind of integrity whatsoever. But it goes on. "It's been a long few months, during which I've learned a lot about myself and my value as both a woman and a writer. This is the right decision for me. I have some things coming down the pike, so keep your eyes peeled." So initially when I read this, I was like, okay, so she's getting pushed out of Kotaku. There are rumors that there are also additional layoffs going off there, ironically right after Donald Trump becomes president. You gotta look at these things as more than just a mere coincidence. But regardless of that, she claims to have things coming down the pike. Okay, sure, that's what you say when you feel embarrassed. But then you also pair that with her social media posts about how she's traveling to Canada. And then we got Khalif Adams posting a picture of them all together at Compulsion Games. And it's gonna beg the question, what's going on? Why is she up in Compulsion Games when she's stepping away from Kotaku? And you pair that with what she said in her statement about how she's learned a lot about myself and my value as both a woman and a writer. And you look at Compulsion Games, a company that Sweet Baby Inc. is heavily influencing and a part of with the narrative design, consulting, and writing of the games. And you put two and two together and say, yep, she's probably interviewing with Sweet Baby Inc. But before we even go down that rabbit hole, let's talk about this farewell statement because it's hysterical how it praises Kotaku's editorial integrity and resilience. Behind the veil of gratitude, it's hard not to notice the undertones of her abrupt exit. Typically, when editors leave their posts on positive terms, they are more clear about the indicators for future prospects, collaboration announcements, and what they plan on doing next. Instead, Mercante's vague mention of some things coming down the pike raises more than just a few eyebrows. And again, it's one big club that you're not a part of. The game industry itself is very incestuous in nature. And it's interesting going back all the way to when Alyssa Mercante was running damage control for Sweet Baby Inc. initially, leaving out the main factors as why Gamergate started with Chris Kindred going after Cabrutus. And she does not mention that whatsoever in her article talking about Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do. And even back then, people were raising their eyebrows being like, well, hold up. Why are you running defense for this company? You don't work for them. You don't have any kind of vested interest with Sweet Baby Inc. What's going on behind the scenes here? And now, looking at what's transpiring next, you can't help but put two and two together and say, Oh, so she's been buddies behind the scenes with them, showing an inherent bias of how she's covered Sweet Baby Inc. all along the way, running damage control, running defense for them, and trying to paint everyone else as the enemy along the way, when in reality, we've just been preaching the truth. For those familiar with her tenure at Kotaku, the reaction to her departure on social media is fantastic. The internet is rejoicing, but there's a notable sense of concern as well from many people in the game community. The criticisms of her approach to journalism often centered on the heavy biases, her focus on sensationalism, and the tendency to push divisive narratives that never really resonated with any of the broader gaming audience on the whole. Her reputation as someone more interested in championing the personal agendas over comprehensive, balanced coverage became the point of contention within many people of the gaming community during her full-on 2-year tenure at Kotaku. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Nobody is going to miss you. Which brings us to what she's doing next, saying that she has some things coming down the pike. And like I said earlier, I feel like that was just kind of trying to throw shade at people that were trying to toss on top of her and make it sound worse than it really was. When in reality, no. I really do think, after doing some research here, that she does have things coming down the pike. And one of those is working at Sweet Baby Inc., failing upwards, becoming a potential narrative consultant for a game company, going from a journalist, the activist portraying a journalist, to full-on working in the game industry directly on a game should be terrifying for gamers out there. That's why people care about what's going on with Sweet Baby Inc. That's why they want to make sure they follow the story so that they do not support and proliferate what's happening right now. They want to make sure that Sweet Baby Inc. does not see any success because they continue down the path of hiring people like Alyssa Mercante, hated by gamers everywhere. She recently posted how she is traveling to Quebec, Canada, which ironically is exactly where Compulsion Games is located. And for those of you not familiar, Compulsion Games has come under quite a bit of scrutiny with how they've handled the hiring processes within that game company. And Grumps had an extensive post about this previously. Back in April 2024, Grumps said, "Update. More ex-developers come forth about Sweet Baby Inc. Project South of Midnight by Compulsion Games. The community manager is still protected after saying she hates gamers and has a problem with Asian and white people. Main character was race swapped in order to better reflect a tale set in Deep South after Microsoft and SBI involvement. The team that created their past celebrated title, We Happy Few, is mostly gone, leaving after being disillusioned about changes after Xbox, Microsoft, and Sweet Baby Inc. involvement, studio policies, and more. Less than 10% of the original We Happy Few team remains. Promotion of non-qualified staff to lead management positions resulted in a mess of a project. No idea how to make a game. The dev team is almost entirely white and based in Montreal, Canada, and many devs felt uncomfortable creating a game in the Deep South with so little experience in the area." And it goes on and on from there. It's a very long post, but sum it up just to say that Compulsion Games is a complete trash heap crap show that nobody knows what's even happening and which end is up while trying to create this game South of Midnight that it looks like, from the pictures that are being posted from Khalif Adams, the positivity peddler that was asking people for free codes because he couldn't pay for a game himself to support them, was at Compulsion Games with her and Paris that were all saying, "Hey, look at us, we're at Compulsion Games," and Sweet Baby Inc. works directly with them to create this game. Nothing to see here. It feels like a predictable shift in the long-standing pattern of journalistic favoritism and industry alignment. It's a reminder to everyone that the gaming world is one big interconnected club where alliances are leveraged, stories are spun, and credibility has to be questioned. The people care not for the games, only to continue failing upward in an industry that will ultimately collapse onto itself because quality people are not being placed in positions to ensure success of these games. And while they might try to operate behind the facade of progressivism or integrity, gamers have learned that we can see right through it. In real time, we are seeing an industry that, at least on the surface, appears to be correcting itself, shedding the more divisive figures in favor of creators and journalists journalists who prioritize the core passion of the community. The departure of Mercante from Kotaku is seen as part of this broader realignment, at least for the time being, and the social media reactions are celebrating, like I said, but take it with a huge dose of skepticism because of what is about to happen next. Don't celebrate too hard because it looks like Alyssa Mercante is going to be failing upward from the trash heap that is Kotaku to now becoming some sort of senior narrative editor, designer, storyteller at a video game company that she has no business being in. Once again, an activist continuing to find success in the very industry that she's trying to destroy. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link this in the description below. It's kind of weird thinking that Alyssa Mercante is no longer at Kotaku, and I still have this feeling in the pit of my stomach that it's not all right in the world. Hopefully, as time passes, everything will work its way towards that direction, but at this point, all we have is the information in front of us, and it's not necessarily a great feeling. But then again, with Sweet Baby Inc., who knows how much longer they're going to be around themselves. We can all hope for that glorious day. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash